it's Kitsu, and today I'm going to be going over the lore surrounding the hunt for the Riddler's mindworm. I'll also be showing you where you can pick up the pages for yourself as I go through if you haven't managed to get them out yet. Before we start, please be aware that there has been no official explanation given for the riddles, so the following video is mostly conjecture and the community's best attempts at making sense of them. Big thanks to the WoW Secrets Discord for a lot of these ideas. This has definitely been a collective effort. To start this adventure, you need to go to the Legerdemain's Lounge in New Dalaran and pick up page 9 from the bookshelf. Written on this is the first clue, of sea, spirit and self. To solve this, we must first look at the Warcraft cosmology chart, which shows the overlap of the various forces at play in the universe. The clue references spirit, along with sea, or water, and self, which could be interpreted as reality. In the centre of these three sits the Emerald Dream, the realm crafted by the Titanic Keeper Freya to serve as an evolutionary blueprint of Azeroth itself. The page can be found at one of the entrances to the Emerald Dreamway in Duskwood, on the side of a moonwell. This could be another reference to the riddle, as moonwells contain spiritual water in which one could see their reflection. The next riddle is a little less cryptic than the first of lords to fall. This is a reference to the first elemental lord, Ragnaros, to be defeated by the Keepers as they attempted to push back Black Empire and thus the Old God influence on Azeroth. You can find the page on a wall in Sulfuron Keep in the Firelands just by Ragnaros, which means you'll have to fight your way through the raid first. Continuing the theme of the elements, the next page reads, The Wind, the Eye. The corresponding page can be found not far from the entrance to the elemental plane of Skywall in Uldum, where the Throne of the Four Winds raid is located, as well as the Vortex Pinnacle dungeon. These are presumably direct references to those instances, with the wind referring to the throne and the eye referring to the popular phrase, the eye of the vortex, and thus the pinnacle. Now the next riddle was undoubtedly the most difficult to solve, with it taking around 19 hours for the community to crack, and it was also where I joined in. It reads, The Plume, the Tomb, a Scarab Moon. It proved particularly difficult as most of us got caught up on certain parts of the riddle. Many were certain the Scarab Moon was a reference to Anchorage, whereas others were sure that the Arakoa were involved, especially as the German version of the text specified a feather in the place of a plume. The page was eventually found in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid in the Shire of Pride room. As for how that relates to the riddle, no one is certain, but there have been lots of suggestions. To plume can be a way of saying to preen oneself, or to feel a sense of pride or self-satisfaction, a reference to the Shah. The tomb marks the Vault of Visage where the page was located, the tomb that was used to lock the heart of the old god away. The Scarab Moon is more contentious. Some argue that it is a reference to the Horde symbol. This loading screen of Siege of Orgrimmar shows the symbol stylized in a way which could be seen to resemble this. It could also be a reference to the Klaxi, the Mantids who are encountered later within the raid who are spawns of the old gods. Whatever the reasoning, I give it some time before those of us who were searching can refer to AQ40 with a straight face. The answer to the next riddle, in Snow, Sand and Stone, leads us to the Well of Eternity. Whilst there have been quite a few explanations for this one, the one that seems the most convincing is that these are references to three locations of importance to the Titanic Keepers. Ulduar, which is in snow, Uldum, which is in sand, and Uldaman, which is in stone. If you connect the three of these on a map of old Azeroth pre-Sundering, you can find the Well of Eternity at the centre. Behold the Battle Unblinking is the next clue given to us, and the answer can be found in a statue outside the Shadowpan Monastery in kun-lai's summit. Most of us suspected the answer would be a statue located somewhere due to the Unblinking reference, and the battle is most likely referring to the Shadowpan and their battles in the land, in particular against the Mantids. The riddle could also be referring to how, during the kun-lai storyline, no reinforcements arrived from Shadowpan Monastery despite the difficulties being faced by the troops on the ground. I was lucky to pick up my pages as they were discovered when there was no one around. When I came back to film the location of the pages, I was greeted by this, a massive battle between Horde and Alliance for control of the statue. I even tried hopping on other realms, and when I found one controlled by my faction, I still couldn't click the page through everyone's character models. I'm sorry for all of those who had to persevere through this to get your mount. The next riddle doesn't take too much explanation, Bejeweled Watcher. Watchers are Titanforged creations tasked with protecting planes on Azeroth, and the four are located within the Halls of Origination. Just outside there are several statues, some of which have jewels on them, and it is at the foot of one of these that our next page is located. Somewhere, down there, amidst all the fighting. And with that we're on to our final clue, a ray of sunrise. Note that it's sunrise and not sunshine. Now we know that the sun rises in the east, but where does it fall? In the west. And so it is in Westfall we find our prize on the beach in an upturned boat. It was a bit of a hectic journey, but if you followed along, you should now be the proud owner of the Riddler's Mindworm. As for the page numbers, the first few follow the ISBN for the second WoW Chronicle book. However, the pages continue after this. People are still trying to figure out if those numbers hold any significance, and if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. I hope you found this insightful, and are perhaps encouraged to participate the next time an event like this rolls around. See you next time. Bye!